everybody. It's Pete Cossaboon, the Angel Encourager. I'm knowing everybody's doing well today. Hello, Stephanie. How are you doing today? So this is Pete Cossaboon, the Angel Encourager. So glad everybody's joining me today. Hello, how you doing? Hi. So, oh my goodness, everybody's joining all of a sudden. How are you doing today? Aw, giving me love. Y'all are so sweet. So what I'd like to talk a little bit about today is hi, how you doing? Hello, hello. Yes, I actually went on a little bit of a retreat in Key West this past weekend, so I've been kind of out of pocket. Thank you so much. It was really a wonderful time of just connecting with some different new friends, and also I had a lot of really great spiritual downloads. It was amazing, and I'll tell you a little bit later about a sort of a moon thing I did, which was really kind of interesting. So I want to talk today about how to connect with angelic energy, because it's absolutely something that you can do in your daily walk. And that's really what's important, is to realize that you can call forth angelic energy at any time of the day or night, in any situation. It can be something as simple as, finding, your car keys, to something as important as bringing in, health for yourself. It can be whatever it is. So it's about not judging the importance of anything. Hello, thank you so much for joining me, Hollywood 38. So to realize that the heavenly realm and the angelic realm, they're always in the state of joy. They're always in the state of bliss. And they have what I call universal mindset. In other words, they can see all of us, and they can see what surrounds us, and they can see the opportunities that surround us. So it's important, first of all, to know that, hello, how you doing, K Real Estate? To realize that you only connect with angelic energy when you're in that state of joy, or when you're in that state of bliss. Hello, thank you so much. Greetings to you as well. So, when you're in a state of lack, or you're in a state of depression or anxiety or anything like that, you're so much, in your headspace. And the reason that you feel like cut off from people, and a lot of times, whenever you're in a state of loneliness or sadness, you're always in that state of lack and feeling like you're alone. And you can be in an entire crowded room full of people and still feel that way. And it's because you've blocked off that spiritual connection. You've blocked off that connection to everyone around you and all that is. Because when you're in that state of depression or anxiety or fear, or whatever it is, you're so, right here in this headspace. So it's about stepping into that joy, but in an authentic way. And what do I mean by that? I mean that every emotion that we have is valid. There's a valid reason for us to have that emotion in it, and there's a reason for it. That's true, yeah, they are. And it's about finding a way. Should take meds for that. Well, I'll tell you, we'll talk about that. So, thank you so much for joining. So the way to really do that is do I take meds? No, I do not take meds. Absolutely not. So, but we can talk about, meds and that, because I have, been through that whole cycle before. I'm a shiny squirrel person, so these people texting with me sometimes gets my mind off of what I'm talking about. But we're talking about how to connect. I didn't. Oh, well, we'll talk about that as well, Nat. And thank you for engaging with me. We'll certainly work through that, see what might work for you, because different things work for different people. So, but connecting with that angelic mindset is about stepping into the same. Absolutely, is about stepping into the same realm, of the same mindset that they're in. So they're always in a state of joy. They're always in a state of bliss. Should I just stop talking? It's about doing it in an authentic way. It's about being authentic about how you are, how you feel, and stepping through that in an authentic way. Just feeling the best that you can, seeing the opportunities and the challenges. If you're feeling grief over something, or you're feeling sadness over something, to not have a judgment about that. That's the first way that we really kind of suffer. The pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. And we do suffering when we take a judgment about, say, we do things like, if that person didn't treat me like that, I wouldn't feel like this. Or if I wasn't in this situation, I wouldn't feel like this. Or I'm more spiritual than that, so I should not be feeling this way. It's all this judgment. And it's about just kind of letting go of that judgment and just allowing yourself to feel the way that you feel. Allowing your body, your mind, and your spirit to express that. Because we always talk about, spirit immediately releases. The mind sometimes, takes a couple days to release things, even maybe a week. And then the body can take, days, months, or even sometimes years, to release things. And just to allow it to have that time, allow it to have that space without judging it. But you can approach anything from a state of joy. You can approach anything Perhaps you might have to look at the flowers that are out in the field, or the dog that you want to pet, or whatever it is. But it's just stepping into the best feeling space that you possibly can get, and you can kind of ratchet. I almost think of it as sort of like a sailboat. You know how a sailboat gets from point A to point B. They don't take a straight route. They sort of tack back and forth. And I will absolutely. But it's about just doing whatever you can to get into that next best feeling state, kind of like what Abraham Hicks talks about, to get yourself up into that state of joy. And once you've gotten into that state of joy, you sometimes might dip down, and it's about not judging that, but it's really easy to kind of get right back up there. And you'll notice that the more joyful you become, the more clarity you get, because true clarity is found in joy. Whenever somebody comes to me and they say, I don't know what to do, I always tell them, step into joy in any way that you can. And so I have done this in a number of different ways for myself. I've expressed some of my own stories here. And basically what it is number one, stating your intention. And then it is to, and you can be happier than I am. And the next thing is to just find something to be joyful for. And what I do, I love to dance, and I love to just dance silly. I don't have any particular dance moves that I have. I'm certainly not coordinated. In fact, I have some dances that I have actually on YouTube, and they're quite hilarious to see this 51-year-old man, acting like a total fool. And I kind of did in Key West, I acted like a total crazy man. I actually had somebody come up to me and they said, "You don't blanking care, do you?" And I was like, "No, I really don't," because I'm here just to express myself, in the dance. And so what I do to put myself in joy sometimes is I'll put on a silly song, and then I'll just start just moving and shaking and singing and dancing and whatever I do, and it's me laughing at me, being in that joyful, just crazy state that will just like escalate me right into joy. And then that's where you get clarity. That's where you all of a sudden you're connected to that angelic realm, to the heavenly realm, and you just get those inspired actions that pull you into the next best thing. Because once you've asked, and then you step into that state of joy, the next thing is about just taking the walk of faith, of taking those inspired actions. Because so many times those inspired actions to the human mind make no sense as far as what your target is, because we have this idea of how we walk down this path. We have this idea of if we do A, B, C, and D, that you can get to wherever. Oh, you're so sweet. Of how you can get to wherever you want. But it's realizing that all we think of is with just what's right here. And there's an entire world that surrounds us with all the opportunities. And there's an entire actually universe, and there's energies we can't even imagine that are surrounding us, that have ways to bring us to where we want to be without us even being able to fathom it. And so the way to know how to get to the next step is just to take those inspired actions, once you step into joy. And then lo and behold, I'm going to tell a really, when I was in Key West, I'm going to tell a really funny story that it was so funny. It was just amazing. So we had this little piggy bank called Super Wang, because my boss has a hog named Wang, so it's kind of a long story. But anyway, what they like to do at this retreat is they like to find the funniest picture that you can take with Super Wang. Well, Super Wang had been missing for a day and a half, and so I did not know that, but I happened to sit down with somebody. Hey, shampoo mate. I happened to be sitting down with somebody else in the group and the leader of the group, and he happened to mention that Super Wang was missing. And I said, well, let's call forth an intention, because Pete is all about bringing the angels to the street. If you have an issue, there's something that hey, how you doing? If you have something that you want to work through, bring in the angels. That's what I keep saying. It's about talking to them, about including them in your everyday life, no matter if it's a big thing or a small thing. And this was definitely a small thing. We weren't that concerned, but it's just like, where is Super Wang? So we created what I call an intention circle, which is just like in the Bible, where it says if two or more come together with a like-minded and call it forth and have that belief, it's going to be so. We held hands, I called forth, and I also called forth Archangel Shamuel, who is the finder of lost and found. We made the intention, and this is what happened. The moment we opened our eyes, there was another man standing right there, setting Super Wang down on the chair that we were sitting on. And that's the gosh honest truth. It was the most amazing thing. We didn't know where he was. We sat down, we made the intention, called forth the energy of Archangel Shamuel to have Super Wang come back, and we opened our eyes and we're letting go of our hands, and literally somebody was setting him down in front of us. It was the most amazing thing. And everybody else was so shocked and awed, and I was happy, but I wasn't surprised. Because I know that if you call forth what you want with a true belief and a true knowing. And especially when you call upon Archangel Shamuel, you call upon the different energies of whatever it is, whatever scope it is that you're trying to bring forth. Of course, it's going to happen, because that's the way. That's who we are. We are there. I keep bringing the analogy that we live in the guardhouse up front with no plumbing, and there's an entire mansion staffed with people in the back that you can't. Well, we'll talk about that. Absolutely. So how do you handle pressures in life that you can't control that may affect you in a negative way? It's up to you to look at anything in your life the way you look at you. You are the point of reference for your life. It's completely up to you as how you look at things. You can see a challenge or you can see an opportunity in absolutely everything. I mean, I have been through absolutely everything in life except for childbirth. There's nothing else that I'm not going to go into the whole detail. I'm sure I will come out with a book one day that details everything. I am so thankful for every single experience I've ever had in my entire life, because it's made me I'm going to say, the amazing person that I am today. It's absolutely true, and it helps me help so many others, because I understand where you're coming from, because I've been there, but I also understand what is possible for you, and I'm not going to let you stay there. Oh, I have a child. I have a beautiful 20. You can't say I told you. There's nothing you can say that you've been through that I haven't been through except for childbirth. Now, okay, I haven't experienced childbirth, but I was there actually at the birth, so I guess in a way I did. I just didn't have to push her out. So I guess that's what I'm saying with the childbirth. But I've been through, having a child, and all those experiences. I have a beautiful, beautiful daughter. So gotcha on that one. So, but it's just about making a practice. It's a habit. It's a habit of stepping into joy. And sometimes it's not easy, especially at the start, but it's just about creating that habit. They say habits happen, are created within 21 days, and it's about making the conscious choice. When I wake up in the morning, it does not matter what I went to bed with. When I wake up in the morning, I make the conscious choice. Today, I'm going to step into joy. When I lay my head down at night, it doesn't matter what happens. I am going to rest in joy, because there's nothing laying there and worrying about something and fretting about something. Has that ever solved anything? Ever? Never. It's never been proven to solve anything. The only thing it solves is gives you a sleepless night, and then how does that help you? So it's all about just making that conscious decision of, no matter what, I'm going to lay down in joy, and I'm going to wake up in joy. And so many times, when you wake up in joy, it either has been taken care of, it doesn't really matter, or you have a solution to it. One of those things is going to happen. So it's all about doing it, and that's how you just adopt that angelic mindset. That's how you connect with the angels, is just stepping into joy in do you find eating healthy? Absolutely. In fact, as I've really worked with the angels, like, I don't drink any alcohol, and I used to, actually, I tried being an alcoholic for 2 years, and I find that, I used to, my go-to when I would go through McDonald's was I'd get a snack wrap, and I'd get an apple pie, and I'd get a tea. Well, they told me I could not have the apple pie anymore, so now I get an unsweet tea and a chicken snack wrap with no sauce. That's, like, if I'm out in the middle of nowhere and there's no other choice, that's what I get. So absolutely, the diet can be, very very important part of it, and the angels have really put me onto a real physical kick here lately, because a lot of what I do when I work with clients, I actually physically take them into myself, and then to release that negative energy, it's almost like a physical spiritual force where I have to, like, move it up out of my body. In fact, here I've had a couple incidents here recently where I've had some clients with things wrapped around their spinal cord, and I've been able to get it up, and it gets up to my throat, and then it gets caught, and I almost start choking, and then I'm able to almost physically, mentally, spiritually move it up out of me. And if I was not in the physical shape that I'm in, I wouldn't be able to do that. So there's because we are body, mind, and spirit. It's very much about that integration of the three, to really move it forward. And so many times you'll find people that do have a lot of weight, extra weight on them, and I'm certainly not judging, because I used to be 320 pounds, so I totally get that. It's a way of either, oh, thank you so much. It's either a way to protect themselves and keep them small, or there are a lot of people that actually are very spiritual that don't want to really own it, and they take on extra weight as a way to insulate them. Think about it as like insulation on a wire. It's a way to keep themselves protected, because they don't know how, oh, thank you so much. They don't know how to really handle that energy. And that's really kind of what I went through this past weekend. It was really rather amazing. Last June, I went through a real, I guess I would call it a spiritual ascension. I'm not really sure what to call it, but like all this energy just got dumped onto me all of a sudden, and I had to learn how to handle it. Well, when I went to Key West, I don't know if you all have ever heard of it, but there's this butterfly house in Key West that was just magical. It's filled with butterflies and birds of all kinds, and you're just in this little sanctuary, and I mean, spirit was just like all over the place. And I mean, they actually had to shoo me out of there. I think I was in there for like 2 hours. I mean, I literally couldn't speak to anybody. I couldn't think. All I could do was just walk around. And I mean, I literally just stood there with just my hands raised, my eyes closed, just feeling the energy just moving through me. And I was almost actually devastated the night. And then, well, after that, then I actually had to go dancing just to move the energy in me. I literally went dancing. Somebody clocked it for me. I danced for 15 hours straight. And I'm not talking just like, I'm talking I was jumping and moving and jiving, and they were telling me that they were like 20-year-old guys, videotaping me, and trying to mimic what I was doing, and it wasn't I was trying to show out. I was trying to I had to move that energy through me, because if I didn't, I was just going to absolutely explode. And the next day, I was like back and forth. I was crying and laughing, and it was just so. I don't. And I'll tell you how it's kind of changed for me. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and all of a sudden I started getting like these kind of knowings of her future, and I started seeing these things. So I don't know. I'm going through kind of a spiritual ascension, but I asked for it. I did ask for it. So we'll see how that kind of turns out. So I have maybe about another 20 minutes that I can stay on here. Does anybody have any kind of questions or anything that they would like to discuss? I'd love to help anybody with anything with connecting with the angels, or if you if you've maybe seen some and you want to know, what I kind of think of it, from my experience, or if there's any favorite angels that you have. I do want to invite everybody to go over to my Facebook page, The Angel Encourager. I would love to have you sign up for my free newsletter. It goes out every Sunday. And I am revamping my website. I am completely rebranding myself, and that's hopefully going to be up by the end of the month at PeteCossaboon.com. Right now, you don't really want to check it out because it's kind of ugly, but you can check me out at Facebook, and I do respond to any messages that go on there. So if you wanted to message me on the Angel Encourager, I would certainly appreciate that. Love engaging with people and working and seeing what kind of questions or anything that you have, or issues that are going on. So nobody's responding. I don't know if anybody has any questions or anything like that. I guess I would like to, I can talk about maybe some of the different, how can empty your mind to be able to hear, listen for the guidance. Well, it's different from every person. I would say, the blanket, what you hear of is meditation. Now, meditation is different for every person. Some people watch a candle flame. Some people listen to the drip of a sound of like the water faucet. For me, I have a little recording of ocean sounds that I simply do, and then I have this, kind of like this little kind of ritual I go through. For some people, it's walking in nature. For some people, it's doing like something some type of simple task they enjoy doing. Some people enjoy cleaning. Some people enjoy driving. It's whatever puts you just in that kind of like that contemplative or just kind of simple, mind space where their mind just kind of gets to relax for, however long. And it can be something. It's another thing, talking about habits and getting yourself into joy. It's something that you just have to, work at. I know when I first started my spiritual path, I could only sit and meditate for maybe like, 2 or 3 minutes. And then it got up to 5 minutes. And now I meditate for about 10 minutes. Sometimes when I finish a 10-minute, I want to do more. And sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm ready to, go on and do something else. So it's very much about, getting into the habit of it. It's very much about, just continuing to do it. But you can actually get to the point of where you're sort of meditating and staying in what I call 5th or 6th dimension all the time. And what that means is that how can I stop the block of being overweight? So it's really about, just finding a way to, maybe become the watcher in your life. And you almost kind of watch yourself as this creature, not really totally wrapped up into all the drama that's happening, so that you have kind of this way of like, steering around, all the craziness that can happen. So being overweight, so that's something I know I've certainly done. Like I expressed before, I used to be 320 pounds. Right now I'm about 165, something like that. So, of course, the basic thing, the take in and the take out, but it's really about how you express yourself. It's about how, you feel about yourself. Oh no, no, you do not want to meditate for hours because it's all about being in the now. It's all about, living. And if you just do it, at least once a day, that's cool. But as far as losing weight, it's about loving yourself, and it's about owning your own space. There's a number one thing to realize is that usually when you take on extra weight, it's because it's a protection symbol for you. It's a way to keep yourself out of the game. It's the way to keep yourself protected. I know for me, I was overweight because I did not want to appear attractive because there were some things happening in my family. So I wanted to, not be seen as attractive, and I wanted to kind of be able to be in the shadows so that I would not be at the center of attention. And I would go through periods in my childhood where I'd go through a growth spurt, and then I would suddenly lose a bunch of weight, and all of a sudden all this attention would be on me, and I was not comfortable with it because it was not the kind of attention I wanted. So it's just number one, thanking that weight. And I know that sounds crazy, but there's a reason. There's a reason it's on you. But thanking it first of all for having served you in some way, and because it's bothering you, it's no longer serving you. So any energy that's in you that wants to move is going to start irritating you, driving you crazy. So realize that driving you crazy and I need to lose this weight means that energy wants to leave you as much as you want it to leave. So it's about number one, you acknowledging it and thanking it for being there, and then letting it know that it's time. It's time to release and it's time to go. And it's about beginning to honor yourself. It's about beginning to love yourself. It's all about starting there from that space. And when you start loving yourself, things just start to happen. And I always think of life as like this fabric, just like this piece of fabric. And you take whatever part of that fabric you can and pull it up. And when you pull that up, it's going to change everything else. So what I'm saying to you is if you're not able to work on your physical self, if you just cannot get yourself motivated to go for a walk, start working on your spiritual self. Start becoming more mindful and start, being kind to yourself. If that doesn't work, start working on your emotional self. If that doesn't work, start working on your relationship self. If that doesn't work, start working on your career self. You pick whatever part of the fabric is easiest for you to work with. For me personally, right now, my health is the easiest thing. And that's just because it's a habit. It's a total habit. So I go to the gym 5 to 6 times a week, and it's just become a total habit for me. I would feel weird if my car didn't go to the gym. You know what I mean? And of course, there's sometimes I walk in the gym and I'm tired. I'm like, oh, but I show up, and once I show up, I just do it. But, it's finding that aspect of your life that pulls you up a little bit. It takes you into a new being that's easy for you to do, whether it's your finances, your relationship, your home, your career, your emotional self. So I do, it's going to, because you work out, it's going to start pulling you into the wanting to be more spiritual, because that's what happens. As you pull that fabric up in any way, it calls all of you to start wanting to to acclimate and get onto that higher level so that you kind of match. And then you find they start complementing each other, and everything becomes a little bit easier. Once you've pulled up one part of the fabric, it gets easier to pull up another part of the fabric. And before not long, you've just kind of bumped yourself up to this higher level. And then if you feel like it, you can, and we're constantly expanding. We are energy beings. We whether we want to or not, we're constantly calling ourselves forward. Yes, small wins, perfect. And so it's always a journey. There's never a destination. So it's like learning that thing first of all. It's never a destination. Everything is a journey, and you might as well be happy along the journey as you go. And it's about like that lady just said, small wins. It's about giving yourself not only allowance but also celebrating yourself and what you are today. And maybe if it's something with weight, say you drink too many milkshakes. Well, say you drink 3 milkshakes a day. Maybe one day you only drink 2 milkshakes. Celebrate that. Celebrate. Today, I only had 2 milkshakes. And I would celebrate that in you. If you felt that was an accomplishment, I think that would be fantastic. I mean, I know for me with the physical, because we were talking about losing the weight, one of the easiest things for me to do was simply to find alternatives, or to find different ways, to perhaps fill up the stomach first, because I found for me with overeating, I was trying to fill some kind of a need. So I learned to fill my stomach with things that were not that high in calories or fat, like water. Like I would have a lot of ice. I would just have a cup of ice with me all the time, so that I had that physicalness of chewing and eating something. But of course, it was just water. You can bring in a lot of lettuce, pickles. Dill pickles are pretty much a zero food. You know what I mean? And I used to just love pickles. So you just find things that you can kind of transfer, or if there's a high fat thing that you use, find kind of a low fat or low calorie alternative for it. So don't take yourself into this all of a sudden from Z to A immediately. Allow protein shakes are beautiful because protein actually takes away your hunger. Sorry, your hunger to connect with spirit more and more. Fabulous, fantastic. And the key to connecting with spirit is simply to include them in your everyday walk, into your everyday life. We so think, we've had this whole thinking that, we only connect with spirit, in church or on Sunday or Wednesday or Bible study or Sunday school or whatever it is. But we're constantly surrounded by spirit, and our angels are bored to tears. Now I deal with the angelic realm. However you connect with spirit is totally cool, whether it's Jesus or God, the universe, Allah, Buddha. As long as it comes from love, it does not matter what you name it or what the energy is for you. It could be fairies, it could be elementals. It doesn't matter. As long as it comes from love and it's what resonates with you, then it's beautiful. To me, it just happens to be angels. So, but it's about including them in your everyday walk, and I absolutely do. What's my Facebook? Oh, cool. So it's if you go to Facebook, it's the Angel Encourager. And then there's a sign up link right there for my newsletter. I'm so excited. I would absolutely love you to sign up for my newsletter. Like I say, it goes out once a week, and what it is it's basically one targeted subject with one archangel that has come forward to speak on that subject. And usually, because I've been kind of gotten out of my schedule, with going to Key West and everything, I usually do an angel card reading once a day, and I usually have an afternoon and an evening message from that archangel. I did not do it today, kind of fallen behind, and it's been a few days since I've done a Periscope, and I'm totally addicted to doing Periscope because I so love connecting with people. So I'm getting back into my habit of doing the Periscope, and tomorrow I'll start back with doing my daily card readings and that kind of thing. But for sure, this coming Sunday I will have a new newsletter come out. So I'm so appreciative of you doing that. But it's the Angel Encourager on Facebook. You can just look that up, and that's going to be me. You'll see me and maybe see a little bit of my new branding and that type of thing. Oh, awesome! I think you're awesome. Oh, thank you for yes. And I plan on staying back. I actually had planned on doing a lot of periscoping while I was in Key West, but I mean it was so much about connecting with new people, and it was so much about just I was so overwhelmed with the new I don't know how I could even really explain it. The new spiritual energy that was flowing through me that I don't want to say I had to kind of take myself off the grid because I was almost immobile at times. I mean, I couldn't really hardly even move. It was amazing the energy that was going through me, and about being overweight, to being intuitive and unsure with energy. I mean, think of it as like some people that aren't willing to accept their energy. It's almost a way of shielding themselves. I mean, think of it as like a wire, like an electric wire, and the shielding that goes around it to keep it protected. So people that have like a high spiritual energy, but they don't know how to flow it, they don't know how to integrate it, they don't understand how to use it. A lot of times they will take on extra weight just to keep themselves more grounded and more protected, and perhaps make it even a little bit more difficult really for spirit to come in to them. It's just a way to keep themselves small and protected. So if you think of it that way, it's about realizing that the different blocks, the different mental blocks that we have, weight, maybe overspending, whatever it happens to be, in some way that is a protection for you. So it's about, first of all, honoring that. It's serving you in some way. In some way it's serving you, but when it starts bothering you, it stopped serving you, and it wants to be released, and that's why it's driving you crazy. And so it's about realizing that not only do you want to release it, but it wants to be released. But it starts with thankfulness. It starts with appreciation, because in some way it's kept you protected, and it's served you. It's about thanking it and then just releasing it into all that is, and just and sometimes it's just making that statement. I thank you and I release you into all that is. But then it's proclaiming it and proclaiming it and proclaiming it. Because I was speaking with someone today about the concept of prayer. And prayer is absolutely that prayer is what I do when I speak to the archangels and I call forth what absolutely with the course I'm creating right now. Oh, cool! Oh my gosh, I so want to know all about that. If you will, would you message me on Facebook and let me know about that and give me maybe a link to it? I would be so interested in knowing what that's all about. Sounds fantastic. So, yeah, I kind of, me, shiny squirrel. It's kind of got now I just got my mind off of what I was even talking about. Awesome. I would love to hear more about that. Perhaps you need to start periscoping too as well. That would be so fun. So, gosh, what was I even talking about? Now my mind is completely, I was like a shiny squirrel moment. So does anybody have any questions or anything they want to talk about? Any issues, any kind of, different things? I would say, I know for me personally, I have been through this period where I'm really learning how to really fall head over heels in love with myself. I had been seeking love, through other people and totally stepping out of my own joy to do it, thinking that their happiness was more important than mine. And that's been something that I've really, started working with. I have a new relationship that's, possible. And I know, isn't it great? And I think it's, oh, you saw Uriel? Oh, wow, that's fantastic. Archangel Uriel is really an amazing archangel. He's all about the earth energies, electricity and thunder and so he's kind of like he's seen as sort of like the male companion to Archangel Ariel, who takes care of the natural resources in the animal kingdom. He's more like the energies and the movements of nature. Because I'm trying to finish my book. Oh, cool! I need to know about. I would love to hear more about that. If you want to actually contact me on my Facebook page, The Angel Encourager, I'd love to hear. I would totally love to hear about that. I totally love. I mean, I'm not even kidding when I say I love the engagement, and I do get back with people. When they write me, usually within a couple hours. Actually, I had somebody that was having some kind of an issue, and she called forth to the angels that I would contact her. And she put something in my Facebook, messaged me on there, and I happened to immediately see it. And oh, thank you so much. Happened to immediately see it, and I immediately contacted her and actually did a Skype session with her right there. So, like I say, it's all about involvement with people and helping and getting the angels out there and just putting that value out there. Oh, cool! I'm so excited. I cannot wait to hear about what you're doing. So, does anybody else have any other issues or anything like that? I think somebody was asking about. I hope I answered the question about extra weight and being intuitive and how that works, and just it starts with really thanking those energies, whatever those blockages that you see in your life, and realizing that when they start driving you crazy, it's because they want to move also, because energy is constantly in movement, and just realizing at that point it's no longer serving you, thanking it, releasing it. Oh, I know what it was. I was talking about prayer. That's what I was talking about. So with prayer, it's the same thing I do with the angels when I'm calling for something. That's basically a prayer. It's basically an asking. And so, but the thing about prayer is, once you've asked, you need to step into the state of knowing. You need to step into the state of acknowledging. So many times people will pray for something, and the next day they wake up and they pray for that same thing, and the next day they wake up and they pray for the same thing. Can you see what a sense of lack that is? It's a sense of not trusting. A sense of, well, you must not have heard me, so I guess I'm going to repeat it again. And it's about realizing, a couple things. That for one thing, the angels work and heaven works. When I say the angels, you can translate it into whatever energy it is that you connect with. But the angels work in what I call just in time. And what that means is they bring you what you need just when you need it. It's kind of, it's if anybody's into manufacturing, into business, you've heard of just-in-time manufacturing or Sigma 7 manufacturing. What that means is, you get the part right as you need it, and it's the most efficient way to do it. And the reason it's like that is, say you got what you needed for step 10, and you're at step 1, absolutely perfect angelic timing, baby. If you had at step 1 what you needed at step 10, would you be living in step 1 or would you be living in step 10? You'd be living in step 10. So they want you to always be living in your now. They want you to always be experiencing your now, because no matter where you are, it's always now. And they want you living in that time frame with the faith that when you get to step 10, you're going to have exactly what you need, and you will. So it's about walking through that faith and just knowing that you're going to have what you need. And if you imagine from the angelic realm, because they see us, they know exactly what we need, they know exactly what's available, they know exactly where it's at. Would you give somebody something before they needed it and let it just sit there and spoil, or would you wait till they needed it and then gave it to them? That's what you do, and that's exactly what the angels do. They give us what we need when we actually need it, and not before, because it just doesn't make sense. Our entire lives would be so cluttered with things. If we had everything we needed for the next 10 steps that we were going to take, we would just be so inundated with stuff. How did I start working around the angels? Well, so I will tell a little bit about my story because it's really, really quite fascinating. So last year, I was in a wealth creation group, and there was a lady there that was an angel intuitive medium. And I was one of these people that was like, wouldn't it be cool to be intuitive? So I told her, I said, I would like to learn. So she started training me. Well, the second session, she stopped and she said, I can't teach you anymore. And I said, why? And she said, because you're already doing this. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm already doing this? And all of a sudden, all these people just started coming out of the woodwork and started emailing me. And it was just, I mean, I always tell people, there's like, gosh, it's so odd what you do. And I'm like, imagine it being the person who's doing it, not knowing what you're doing. So it just like opened this whole new door to me. I didn't even know what was even going on, but I just trusted it and allowed it, because last year was my year of faith. That's what I decided from the very beginning. It was going to be my year of faith. I was going to do everything that I felt intuited to do. So I just kind of stepped through it. And then I went to a conference in June that was a business conference that was full of intuitives. It wasn't for intuitives, but for some reason a lot of intuitives went. And it was like plugging into that energy, which was like all of a sudden I got all these downloads. And it was like, I mean, I was just like shaking and shivering the whole time. And people would be around me, they'd be like, I'm getting shivers on my arms. And I'd be like, I'm sorry, it's me. And so I really just kind of learned how to step into that energy. Well, earlier this year, I started working with a powerful medium in Canada. Same thing happened. Second session, she stopped. She said, I can't teach you anymore. I said, why? And she said, because you're more powerful than I am. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm more powerful than you are? And then she hired me to clear the dark energy out of her home. And I was like, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And I just trusted and allowed, did whatever the angels told me to do. And we did it, and it totally cleared it. And so, number one, I want to say there's nothing special about Pete. Pete is just a great allower. That's all Pete is. Pete is just really, really open. That's it. There's no special thing about me. I just have learned how to step into that walk of faith. This year is my year of joy. I just step into joy in every moment that I can. And so I have had, literally, that is all the training I've had. That's it. And when I do card readings and thank you. And I appreciate that so much. But like I say, the only thing special about me is that I allow and I'm open, and the angels know that. And it's so funny because so many times they will say to me, they'll say, go talk to this person over here. They won't tell me what to say. They won't tell me what's going to happen. And I hear them giggling because they know that people will walk over this person and be a little scared and be like, sorry, you don't know me, but Spirit wants me to see if there's anything you want to talk to me about, I mean, it's almost I know that's probably not the way I sound, but it's the way I feel like I'm doing. And the next thing I know, I have the most fabulous conversation with this total stranger that doesn't know me from Adam. And so, like I say, the angels just know that Pete's silly enough to just, if they give me the prompting, I'm going to just go do it. And that's what it's really about. It's about that trusting and that allowing. And it's about learning the mind-body, experience. Thank you. And it's about knowing, the difference between what your mind and your body are telling you. For me, this is not for everybody, but for me, when I get a pain right here, I know it's my ego. When I get a pain in my gut, I know it's Spirit telling me no. When I get shivers on my shoulders, it's Spirit saying, yes, do it. So, but it's different for every person. It's about learning what your body and your mind and spirit system is telling you and how to really plug in. And it's about using that in your everyday circumstances. When I say everyday circumstances, I'm talking like everyday circumstances. You can't find a pen, or, what's the best parking space, or, whatever it is, or how do I deal with this difficult person? It's whatever it is, you know what I mean? It's about calling forth that energy into every day. And that really kind of makes me think, I just said about dealing with difficult people. The way to really realize to move through your life is to realize that you are the point of reference for everything. Everything starts with you. Your path starts with you. How people react to you starts with you. How people treat you starts with you. So realize if somebody's coming to you with some kind of an energy, that means you must be in the receptive mode, or in actually the asking mode, for that person to come to you that way. So instead of, instantly turning into anger, or whatever it is, if somebody's coming to you in a group, you can simply step into what I call the fifth or sixth dimension, kind of just, up above. You're still a human being, you're still there, but you're kind of removed from it a little bit, and you'll be like, what am I putting out right now? Or what is this person in their own loving way reflecting back to me that I'm putting out to have this happen? Because people only react to you or act towards you by the energy that you put out. And when you start seeing life in that way, you can start living from a point of unconditional love. And that is where true power is. Because if you're not making it necessary for people to treat you in a certain way for you to be happy, or for you to be surrounded by a certain circumstance to be happy, or to have the perfect job, or the perfect weight, or the perfect car, or the perfect home, or the perfect money in the bank, or for people to be treating you the right way, or for your children to be the right way, or whatever it is, when that no longer cares, and you can just unconditionally, which means without condition, love yourself and everybody else, they can't throw you off your vibration. And then you are in your vibration, and you have the power at that point. You have the power to be, do, or have anything you want. You can step into any situation. It's not dependent on how other people are. And what starts happening is when you start moving through in that unconditional state of love, you start getting surrounded by people that are in unconditional love. You start getting surrounded by, you no longer have those wonky moments. You never have those people that treat you like that. And things just start flowing for you, people. I mean, it's just, I cannot tell you the magical things that happened this weekend. And we were just the whole group, there were about 40 of us, were just, it was, once you finally realize that it's not about your effort, but it's about what you're putting out there. It's about you stepping into joy, and that what your actions actually are the way the angels want you to celebrate living. They want you to have that accomplishment of having done whatever it is, and you get to move through that moment. But it's not through your effort. It's just by your showing up, and you're allowing, and you're taking those inspired actions. That is just, to me, just the most beautiful thing. And sometimes, if you don't know what to do, you know what to do next. Maybe it's loading the dishwasher. Maybe it's taking a walk. Maybe it's I need to go put gas in the car. Maybe it's, and we all have these high grand ideas. If we want to get a new job of, I've got to go back to school, or I've got to do this major thing. And it's about just, what is it that I need to do in this next moment to improve my estate, improve my life, take care of whatever it is I need to take care of. And then, you're going to be driving to the grocery store because you're out of something, and all of a sudden you're going to get this little inkling, I should talk to this person, or maybe I should take this exit and go check out this thing, or something like that. And that's how inspired action works. It's usually when you're already in motion. I always put the analogy of, if you have like in t-ball, where you have a baseball that's just sitting right here and you hit it with a bat, that's one type of force. And I'm a math geek, so this is where this is coming from. But if you have a baseball that's being thrown at you, and then you hit it with a baseball, or a baseball bat, you're not stopping that baseball. You are simply redirecting the energy that's already in that baseball into another direction by adding your energy to it. And what I mean by that is, it's so important. Say if you want to do something, if you want to get a new job, or if you want to get a new relationship, or whatever it is, you want to lose weight, or you want to make more money, or find more happiness, or whatever it is, and you don't know this grand thing that you're supposed to do to bring into your life. The simple thing and so you're like that baseball, you're in motion, and then the baseball bat of love from the angels can kind of pow, knock you into the other direction that's going to take you towards where you want to go. But if you were sitting on the couch, it's a little bit harder for that baseball bat of love to pop you into that right direction. It's so much easier when you're already in movement. So it's about staying in that state of movement. It's about not letting yourself stay in that spot of just sitting there thinking it's all up to your own effort, it's all up to your own actions, it's all up to me, and if I can't figure it out, I must just be this huge failure. It's about realizing that you are, hello, how you doing? It's about realizing that you are surrounded by more energies than you can possibly imagine. And if you are in a great state of asking, that means that even more energies are coming to you. So get excited. If you're in a state of where you really, really, really want something and you've really been asking for it, realize that there's tons of energy around you. And I always put it into the context of the ocean. You know, the ocean has it ebbs and flows. It ebbs and flows. So when there's not a huge wave coming, it feels like everything is retracting. The ocean never loses water. You know, the earth never loses. It's always still there. It's just that it's being drawn back and it's being built up into what is then a huge wave. So if it feels like everything is retracting, get excited, because that means that the energy is building and you're about to have this huge wave crash over you. And the longer it takes for that wave to come to you, that means the energy is even bigger. So how exciting is that? How blessed are you when you're not getting what you want? Because that means it's building up and it's going to be even stronger than you can even imagine. And it's you that's holding it back. It's you that's holding it back. It's you by focusing on the fact that wave is not coming into you. So what you want to do is you want to step into that step of faith that says, I am so thankful that my wave is now crashing into me right now, and I'm just going to get so soaking wet with abundance of whatever it is I want. It's about stepping into, and no, I'm not on drugs, if anybody's asking, or drink or anything like that. This is just totally just my joy that comes out. But it's about just having that mindset of going through life in that idea of you're either getting wet with the wave or the wave is just building up to get wet with you. Because it's just, that is, I mean, let's imagine if everything, drug of life, I love it. Imagine if there was total abundance. Imagine if the angels could bring us anything we wanted. I mean, they're just going to want to just pour that on us over and over. What's the difference between angelic? I'll talk about that. But just, I want you to just imagine a world that's like that, and then realize that that's exactly what it is. And it's you stepping into depression or fear or anything like that that's really holding it back and stopping off that point of clarity. But when you step into joy and you allow it to come in, and you don't allow the conditions of life to make you happy or sad, but you just be happy, then stuff just starts crashing. And I cannot tell you guys the amount of parts of my life that are just crashing in right now, because I'm no longer evaluating myself by whether or not they come in. I'm just stepping into joy in every moment, and things are just magically coming together. It's just, and I want that. That is available to every single one of you. So that's what I want you to do. I want you all to step into joy. So what is the difference between angelic and other energy? Angelic energy is simply what I tap into. Sometimes I tap into what I would call transition soul energy as well. It's almost like, it's just sort of like if you think of it as like maybe radio waves or different waves. You have microwave waves, and the different types. It's just kind of a different level. Or if you think about it like a radio and how you tune into 104.3 or 102.9 or whatever it happens to be. They're just different frequencies. One's not any better than the other. It's just that's a certain frequency. So it really is, what we are able to tune into, and what makes sense for us. And for me, the angels are what I tune into. For some people it's Jesus, for some people it's God, some people it's the universe, some people it's Allah or Muhammad or Buddha, whoever it is. As long as it comes in love, it doesn't matter, what energies it is. For me, there's just a special plane that is filled with angelic energy that I'm able to very easily tap into. It makes sense to me. It works in my life. And if anybody else wants to explore that, it's just about talking to them. It's about asking them. It's about finding that energy that connects for you, and then you can ask that energy. Who are you? What are you about? What color are you? What is it that you're here for? What type of energy are you trying to bring into my life? What aspect of my life are you wanting to help me with? And I want to invite you again, if you want to go to my Facebook page, The Angel Encourager, if you want to ask me any question, if you want to say, hey, I see these certain colors, or at certain times I've seen, something, I don't know who it is, or whatever, or I'm working on this, who would this angel be, or what angels do you see surrounding me right now? I'm totally of service on that. And you aren't taking from me at all, because I call myself the water slide of love. And as I connect for others, with the angelic realm, that love just like flows right down through me, and I get to capture some of it. So I get some of that love from me. So I totally love connecting for other people. And to be honest with you, I'm not actually connecting through me, I'm connecting through you. So, when I talk to clients, when I talk to other people that I'm working with, I always tell them, this has to be coming through you for me to be able to actually even tap into it, which means, what that means is it's completely available to you as well. Because like I say, the only thing special about Pete is that he allows, and that he's open, and that he has total belief, trust, and faith. And I do. I have total belief, trust, and faith. And I think that's why, in fact, the angels have told me that's why it was when I was in my 50s, before I got connected anyway spiritually, even knew that I had any intuitive abilities whatsoever. It's because I have no preconceived notions. I'm not scared of anything because I know the angelic powers that surround me, and I don't know what I can't do. So if they tell me to do something in a particular way, I just wish I knew who it was. I thank them always. I'm very much getting Archangel Jophiel for you. She's the Archangel of Beauty. She's also the Feng Shui Archangel. She's very much about decluttering, which can be both in your mentally, it can also be in your physical space, it can be in your car, it can be in your home. It's about arranging your life with beautiful things and with things that serve you. And it's about you custom making your life and custom decorating your life in a way that serves you. And that's both with items that serve you, items that you are able to use that in your everyday life, and also items that you find beautiful. But to place them in such a way, I often see people, a lot of times we become very complacent about things, and we will actually walk over things. It's almost like we don't even see the clutter that's in our life, and we get just used to walking over things. Whereas if we cleared those paths for ourselves, our lives would be so much easier, and realize that things that we have, both thoughts in our mind and actual just physical stuff that surrounds us, takes energy from us. It actually takes energy to surround yourself with things. Because you're mindful of it. Oh, I got to make sure I don't drop this, or I don't break that, or this doesn't get a stain on it, or whatever it is. So realize that when you get down to the basics of what serves you and what you find beautiful, then that clears so much energy for you. So that's who I get for you, is Archangel Jophiel. She has a very pink energy for me. She's also a very very motherly one as well. I don't know if you sense the angels. I'm getting actually Archangel Uriel for you. Archangel Uriel is very much about the powers and the energies of nature, about wind and thunder and movement and water movement and that kind of thing. He's sort of like the male twin to Archangel Ariel, who's the Archangel of Abundance. Archangel Uriel deals a little bit more with usually like business and kind of like the moving forward, proclaiming things. He's kind of the gentler side of Archangel Nathaniel, who is so into stepping into what you want. Archangel Uriel's a little bit calmer, but he's just about finding new ways of thinking of challenges that you have and turning them into opportunities. But he's very much about movement. He's very much about the natural energies, and even just about electricity. So I hope that resonates with you. But that's who I kind of sense. Well, y'all, it's about time for me to go. You can always contact me at the Angel Encourager on Facebook. I'm so appreciative. I'm so thankful that y'all joined me today. It's just so beautiful. I want you to know that there is great love from me to you, and there's great love from the angels to you. I can't even express the amazing amount of love energy that they're flowing through me right now for you. I want you all to feel that. I want you to step into your life, step in joy. I want you to take inspired action, and I want you to walk in faith and take on as much unconditional love as you can, and love yourself just as much as you possibly can. Y'all are just awesome. You're amazing. You're amazing beings, just the way you are, without doing anything else. And I want you to realize that. Love, peace, and release.